Sandown, this has been a place where there has been so many big, high-speed accidents, and they've all been at exactly the same place for a variety of very similar reasons. So let's delve in and understand why this is. Why is everyone having these crashes here? Well, you need to understand the circuit, first of all, because when we look at our circuit, they all happen up here at between turn 6 and 8. Now, one thing I want to show you, first of all, when we look at other tracks, typically, the Bend, Hidden Valley, Townsville, when you come along a straight, typically, not always, but typically, you come into a second or maybe third, usually second gear, slower corner. Hidden Valley, long straight, slow corner. Townsville, long straight, slow corner. I can even play Sandown here on the front straight, long straight, slow corner. When we look at Sandown, it's a long straight, but in amongst here, this is 270 kilometres here. Around here, you sort of get down a little bit under 200, but this is still around 200 kilometres an hour here. Now, the other thing is you come off a second gear corner where the cars are really slow. So that creates a power down issue. So cars have different speeds. So inevitably, they drag race up here, and we always end up in this side-by-side battle up here because there's sort of nearly two ways you can attack turn 8 here, but one always comes off second best. So when we go in and have a little bit of a close look at some of these crashes. So this is Garth Tender. He actually had a blown tyre, not his fault. Impact speed, typically for all of these cars, it's usually around 120, 130, 140. This is Will Davison. Whack, a big shunt, same sort of thing. Who's that? That's Lee Holdsworth. Look at that, 20G, 120k at impact speed. Who's this one? Jimmy Golding, James Golding, 26G to 145k an hour impact speed. And then Todd Hazelwood, whack. Wow. Now, I want to have a bit of a closer look at this particular incident. If we put a slider on it, you imagine going down the road at 140 k's an hour. This is just under 140. And when that right there, he departed the circuit up here when he had contact, was about just under 200. But right there, that's 138 odd kilometres an hour, right at that impact point. I mean, that is remarkable. Now, if I go a little further forward, we just go along slowly, and you'll see the driver, and we'll get to about there. I just want to grab my texter. Now, I can see his helmet is right about there, behind that bit of roll cage. I can see his arm is in there. And interesting, his leg is here, and I can see his boots just there, quite exposed. Remember the Chaz Mostert accident at Bathurst? Now we have better protection for the legs so they can't fly around in there. But his nets kept him in there. His safety systems all worked really well. I mean, it is quite dramatic. So we went a step further, and I got Malcolm, my graphics guy, to build me a 3D model to take away all the rubbish so we could have a little closer look at this in terms of the impacts that happened. So this is actually a replicant of the crash. Now, when he goes backwards into the fence right there, that was 30G. 30G. Now, 1G is me standing here. Put me on my shoulders, that's 2G. That's a momentary spike of 30G. Now, first of all, how do I know? Because in the cars, we got this thing called an accident data recorder. That sits in the floor of every car. The blue light means a severe incident. A red light means it's really severe. That gets telegraphed back to race control, so the medicos, the doctors, know the severity of an incident. So that's 30G right there. Then he goes on, and then you look at this. The car goes through this incredible rotation, doesn't pull any big Gs until it lands back on its roof. That's 13G on its roof. Then it rolls further, and it falls and bang on its side. That's 12G. So 30, 13, 12. So you've had enough at 30 and you cop another couple of big hits. And what's cool, when he was upside down, his belts that are now strapped to the cage just behind it and the way his seat's bolted in restrained him. The side-on ones, he had his nets restraining him. He's got his hands device holding his head going forward, the seat with the ears on it, stopping his helmet. So it really is great support and protection in every area. And the final piece to this puzzle was track design, and Scafie got deeply involved in this. This is the old track here. So 270, sort of just under 200, 200 all through here. This is the wall they were hitting. This is a couple of years ago. Now, we'll just morph the new track. Watch this wall here, what they do. Look at that. I'll just do that again so you can see. So you can see the walls move back way back, and this is now all asphalt. Why asphalt? Because when you hit grass, you've got no control of the car and the car doesn't retard at speed. When you hit asphalt, you've still got some control of the car. If you put your foot on the brakes, you can retard a little bit of speed. So you can see a lot of development in car circuit designs mean guys like Todd Hazelwood can walk away from that crash, and 1.5 hours later, he got in a Super 2 race and drove the car. Phenomenal.
Absolutely, great insight there. Thanks, Larko.